everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be doing the commentary / analysis for episode 5 of Miraculous Ladybug season 5, Illusion. Wow, I am tired, but it's the last one, so let's go, besties. Before I carry on and talk about what I thought of the episode, I'm about to spoil the whole thing, so please go and watch it before you continue with the rest of this video, and I will try my best to find some links for where you can watch it, but please know that these links are becoming increasingly hard to find. They are really on it with copyright this season. Like last season they were like, oh, we'll let you keep your video up for a few days before we take it down. This season it's like, no, immediately taken off. So it's getting increasingly harder to find the episodes. If you're wondering how I watch it on TF1 using a VPN. So yeah, I will try my best, but I'm making no promises because it's getting really difficult now. And second of all, I haven't read the show Bible, nor have I seen the vast majority of the leaks for the show, and I would like to keep it that way, and most people who watch me would also like to keep it that way. So please do not, like, I'm going to speculate in this video, I already know I'm going to speculate. Please don't tell me if I'm right, if I'm wrong, what's going to happen instead. I don't want to know. I want to have fun and just think of what's going to happen in the show and theorise until we get to the end. I don't actually want to know yet. So if you don't leave a comment about that, that would be absolutely fabulous. So besties, really enjoyed this episode. Not as much as the other two episodes we've got this week. Maybe I would have enjoyed this episode more if we hadn't seen them all together. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it was within this 3-day period together, I can't help but directly compare Illusion to Passion and Determination. And don't get me wrong, I didn't think this was a bad episode. I liked it, I thought it was good, but I don't feel like it was on the same level as the other two we got this week. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Like I said, like 8 out of 10, that's still a good score. But I don't know, maybe if we'd seen it on its own, like we usually get one episode a week for example, I would feel differently about it. But we didn't, so I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I like the structure, I like the pacing, I like the story of it. It was, for the most part, a more fun storyline, which I guess is good because a lot of people I'm sure are going to be confused. So Jubilation is the one before this, Determination is the one after. So Jubilation, Mr. Damocles akumatized, we get the dream of them kissing, not Mr. Damocles and Ladybug and Cat Noir, and then Determination, the next one, with Marinette and Adrian going on a date at the Grevin Museum with Kagami and Luca. Veronique gets akumatized, and Marinette realises she's in love with Cat Noir the moment he stops loving her. Yay! So in terms of where it's placed in the season, those episodes were kind of heavy. Like, they both upset me quite a bit, more so Determination than Jubilation actually. So I feel like this episode being in between them, because I had quite a lot of comedy in it, has a good position within the season as a whole so far from what we've seen. So I liked that about it. I just wish we'd seen it in order, because I feel like if we saw it after Jubilation before Determination, it really would have helped. But anyway, I think what I'm going to do is, once all the English subtitles come out, because they're all coming out like I think each Saturday, I'm just going to watch them straight through, so I have a better understanding of the timeline, because honestly Destruction and Multiplication are still messing with my head. I don't quite understand what happens first. But anyway, so yeah, 8 out of 10. I don't think it was the worst episode ever, hence why it's an 8 out of 10. But yeah, I still enjoyed it a fair degree. I wouldn't particularly say there's anything wrong with it to make it an 8. I don't know, I just didn't think it was as good. It's fine if you loved it, don't worry besties, do not worry if you disagree with me. So let's get into it. I really like the opening, and I guess even though we saw it after Reunion, it's set before Reunion, so I guess that opening sequence, talking to Chloe, talking to Mr. Damocles, talking to whoever about their thoughts on Ladybug and like who's gonna win and what was gonna happen, I guess was like foreshadowing what happens in Reunion with Jaleel and like the pro-monarch people basically. And I like how they're going to see differing views. They spoke to Alec, who was like, yeah, Ladybug's going to be fine. And they spoke to Bob, who doesn't care. And then Mr. Banana was just there. He was like, stay PG. I just found it so funny. Like, it had a good opening with like talking to Chloe and whatever. But then Nadia was like, okay, back on set. We're going to talk to our experts now. And it pans out to show Mr. Banana. I'm like, oh yeah, he's an expert for sure. Anyway, I mean, I was glad he was in the episode. I love Mr. Banana. And just in general, I was really glad that a lot of this episode showed Adrian about to stand up to his father. And to be fair, he did stand up to him twice, but it wasn't like a confrontational. So the first time he looks like he's gonna go, oh, stop screaming at his dad or whatever. but when he sees his dad is cooking, he's like, okay. Like, he still says what he wanted to say, but in a calmer way. Then again, at the end of the episode, he's like, hey, you don't really want to wear the alliance ring. Gabriel's like, fine, whatever. So it was in a more calm way. But I am hoping that, like, all this preparing to stand up to his dad, like in Risk, he was also gonna start shouting at his dad, stuff like that. I would hope, not that I, you know, want to, well actually no, that's a lie. I do want to see Adrian, like, just go for it. I want to see it, I'll be honest with you, I really want to see it. So I do hope he gets to do it by the end of the season. I feel like the anger will build and build and build, to be honest, but I did like how he was, like, calmer with his confrontation in the episode. Also though, just in general, so obviously this is chronologically the first instance of Gabriel cooking, and Adrian is quite rightly weirded out by it. He's like, he's cooking, he's in the kitchen, what, he's doing what? And I'm just like, why is he doing it? The only reason I could think of is due to this injury he's now got. It's because he's worried he also may not get to spend much time with Adrian because he also may die. Like, as we found out, the injury is spreading. We saw it in Destruction and in Passion. Yeah, I can't remember. I've already forgotten. So much has happened the past 3 days. The injury does look to be like it's spreading. So does that mean it's like gonna cover Gabriel's body? By that point, will he die? I don't know. I mean, just in general, it doesn't seem to be affecting him that badly. He hasn't really seemed like he's in pain. Like, he's aware of it and has to cover up, but to be fair, he usually covered himself anyway. So I don't know. But that's like the only reason I can think as to why he's spending this extra time with Adrian. Like, it's nice and all, but I'm a bit like, okay. However, saying that, even though like it's nice, at the same time I'm also finding it really manipulative. Like, back and forth in this episode and also in other episodes we've seen after this one, Adrian will start calling him Per, like father, and then he's like, oh no, call me Papa. And then this episode when Adrian was like Papa, he's like, call me Per. I was like, okay. But then he was also like, Adrian was like, I'm not a big fan of me being on the alliance ring, and Gabriel's like, well, it's either this or you go back to modelling, pick one. He said it very nicely, but it was like, you gotta do one, you can't just not do anything. Like, it's like any relationship with Gabriel, like even with Natalie and Gabriel, it's a very transactional relationship. Obviously not very, I mean obviously he's evil, I'm not trying to frame it as a good way, like I guess it's fitting for his character since he's horrible, you know, but yeah. So that wasn't very nice. However, like at the same time, oh god, I can't remember what it was. I did make a video about whether or not Adrian was being emotionally abused, and it's definitely for certain this episode, like whether or not Adrian can go to school changes with the bloke's mood, you know, so it's just like, okay, whatever. But then also, why on earth did he go to like throw the pan when like some like the grease or the fat or whatever got him? You were wearing an apron for a start, you were fine, probably didn't hurt. Like, that was just such an odd reaction. I'm not really sure what that was about, but either way, I'm glad Adrian didn't go back to modelling, because like he said, he's very sweet to Marinette in the line at the canteen. They get to spend more time together. He's just so sweet to her. Like, even if I was in Marinette's situation and I had never had feelings for him in the first place, like, I think it'd just be so easy to fall in love with him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how she's physically able to deny being with, I couldn't if I couldn't, okay, I just couldn't. So now let's talk about like the resistance part of the episode. I swear to god, like, I don't know if it's meant to be like based on the actual like French resistance from like, oh, my mum's gonna kill me, World War I or World War II, I don't know. Look, listen, my mum, she loves reading about both World Wars, where it's got to the point from when I was 10 years old up until now. We haven't done it recently because of the pandemic. I haven't left the country since the pandemic started. But from like the age of 10, when I was 10 years old, we used to go on holiday to France. And the reason I've only ever been to Paris once is because we always go to the Somme area of France. If you don't know, the Somme is where a lot of the fighting took place. And we spend every single day in French graveyards. That's what I do in France when I go on holiday. We go to graveyards, and if I don't complain too much right at the end, my mum will take me into Amiens and we will get to go to Sephora, because I love Sephora and we don't have it in the UK. So my mum also was reading about the French resistance, so she will kill me for not remembering which one's which, but it's okay because she doesn't watch my videos. So that's fine. So that was great, and I had hoped that last season, after Alia found out that they would maybe start trying to do some investigating as to who Hawkmoth was and stuff like that. Sorry, Shadow Daddy. May he rest in peace. And they did it for like 30 seconds in Mr. Pigeon 72 and just never did it again. And so I'm glad they did get around to like theorising again, and Marinette was like, well, maybe it's the dog Miraculous, but then we'd see the balls, so it can't be that, it has to be something else. So I loved the whole thing, especially with the camarade with like the source code name. When I was watching it first, I was watching it in French without the subtitles, and I heard it as camera, and camera in French is not camera, so I don't know why I thought it was, but I was like, camera? He's saying like there's a camera in the mayonnaise? That's what was going through my head. I was like, as Nino turned like paranoid over it now. But it was really funny. I really like all of the code names. I haven't even heard of most of those sources, but I was like, okay, we have mayonnaise, ketchup, bechamel, and everything else that I've never heard of before. Great. But oh my god, Alia was amazing up until like when she said sorry to Nino right at the end. The whole time they were doing the plan stuff, she was just 100% done with it. It reminded me of that thing from that it's from a BuzzFeed Unsolved episode where one of them's like, I connected the dots, the other one's like, no you didn't.
I've connected the 2 dots.
You didn't connect shit, but
I've connected them.
Whilst that sequence was going on, I was kind of like, oh, maybe this would be easier if Adrian and Marinette told Nino their secret identities, but then literally 10 seconds later after I had that thought, Nino blurted out, it's like, oh, well, I'm Carapace and Alia was Rena Rouge, and everyone's like, shush! And I was like, yeah, it's a good idea to never tell Nino anything because he cannot keep a secret to save his life. Oh my god. I understand what he's saying in that it's okay because they're not using the Miraculouses right now, Monarch has them. Okay, fine, fair enough, but that doesn't mean you need to go around telling everyone. Then Adrian was like, oh yeah, lol, I knew. And then Marinette was like, Alia, did you know? I was like, I didn't know he told Adrian. I knew Nino knew who I was, but but at least everyone knows now, apart from the stuff with Luca, of course, and obviously Marinette and Alia, what they've got going on. But then Lila arrives, and yes, I understand Marinette definitely overreacted with she like leapt across the table. 100% get that. But like, I kept saying last season, I was like, at what point is Alia gonna apologise for being on Lila's side? Because while some of Lila's lies can't be debunked yet, all of the lies, especially in the episode Volpina that are about Ladybug, can be debunked, because now Alia knows for certain that Lila was lying, because Marinette no way in hell would be friends with Lila, whether she's Marinette or Ladybug. I can understand Alia wanting to give Lila like a second chance or whatever, or at this point it's more like her 60th chance. I can understand that to some degree, but at the same time, like, you know she's been lying and you haven't once apologised to your best friend about it. I don't know, and also this wasn't explored at all in the episode, so I want to know your thoughts next. I want to make a video on it. So Lila takes a picture with her ring, and I believe she says to the Alliance to post it to social media. Why? I have no idea. It's not brought up again, and it's not been brought up in any of the episodes we've seen since, but for them to do it, it's obviously, you know, for a reason. It's going to have a reason later on. So I don't know, like, is Lila gonna say to Gabriel, like, oh look, they're dating again? Like, as we all know from Cat Blanc, he's not the biggest fan of those two dating. And in Ladybug he tried to get Rakumatized because for whatever reason he hates his 14-year-old girl for really no reason, who apparently is a bad influence on Adrian, you know what I mean? So that was a bit strange, but I want to know your ideas about that, besties, and what the consequence of it will be. So that's cool. So now let's talk about Nino's plan. And I did actually quite like it. Was it very cruel to Gabriel? Yes, but like, I have no sympathy for the man. He 100% deserved it. However, I didn't really consider until the episode, as the episode kept going, I was like, oh, this is gonna have bad consequences for Adrian, who gets pulled out of school. And I was like, did none of them consider this, including Adrian himself? I was like, maybe if we annoyed my dad too much, he might pull me out of school. Did they not think about that? Anyway, I did think it was good, and at first when we saw the trailer for it, because it was a silent trailer, the official ones are, so everyone can understand it, and I was like, oh, have they got some suspects for Monarch Daddy? And I did think it was a bit strange they managed to narrow it down to parents at the school. Turns out no, it was just people who were quick to anger, and I wouldn't have really said Jagged Stone was quick to anger, I'll be honest, so I'm not really sure why he was on that board. So yeah, I don't know. But I liked that instead of them being Monarch suspects, so they're like, yeah, we're gonna annoy Gabriel Agreste so much he gets akumatized, and then we're gonna watch him get akumatized. Okay, alright, but then Lila. Oh my god, Lila definitely has to know. I've been saying this for ages now. If she doesn't know Gabriel is Monarch, I feel like she is very, very certain. With everything that happened in the episode Ladybug, like I really believe she knows. Oh, what other episodes? There's another episode where they ever talk to each other. Oh god, what episode? Oh, I can't remember. I want to say Miraculous. It's Miraculous. Yeah, Miraculous and Ladybug. She knows. Even if Gabriel hasn't said, yep, I'm Shadow Daddy explicitly, Lila knows. She knows. She has to know. She knows. Because at the end, I was going to say this till the end of the video, but let's just do it now. At the end, before the end card, not the actual ending, but before the end card, when Lila joins the Resistance at school, it's like Dumbledore's army or whatever all over again. I bet she's going to be there to mess things up, either by like literally messing up their plans, like, oh sorry, I thought we meant to do this and I did this instead, oh well, it's my bad. Either like that, or just like tell Gabriel like, hey, they're doing this, you need to do something in order to combat it. And to be fair to Gabriel, even though he had, what, I don't know, like 5 minutes in between Marinette arriving with the pizza, which by the way was hilarious. Marinette at least tried to act. She was like, oh look, I'm clumsy, I go from this side to this side, and splat. Then Adrian just walked in and was like, oh hi, splat. And then Alia was like, I do not want to be any part of this, but even so. That was so funny. I loved it so much. I also love how when we got that first trailer we were all like, oh my god, it's blood. No, it was just pizza. In my defense, why would it be pizza? Like, what, I mean, why would it be blood also, because it's a kid's show, but also why would it be pizza? But anyway, back to what I was saying. Gabriel's plan was awesome. The fact he managed to think of that without Natalie. Amazing. It was so good. So first of all, the illusion of himself, giving himself the horsepower, having the illusion that like the lightning bolt or whatever is the thing that gives them the miraculous power and had nothing to do with the alliance ring. Genius on its own. And then further than that, to put venom on himself, multiply him, and then also turn invisible. Did he have a brain transplant? It was amazing, Gabriel! You did such a good job! I'm so proud of it! Like, he's definitely getting smarter, which is good because he really needs to be. I feel like this season, like in previous seasons, like whilst he's been the villain, I have never really taken him all that seriously, because when he has these better plans, he doesn't usually execute them very well, or they're thought up by someone else, usually Natalie, not really him. So I never really took him all that seriously as a villain, but this season, because the way his outfit is, he definitely looks more evil, I've been like, yeah, okay, I'm starting to take him more seriously in his role. So I'm like, yeah, alright Gabe. I was dead proud of him. I thought it was an amazing plan, but in the same way I also love Ladybug's solution with the cheese and the rats. I had wondered when we got this trailer, I don't remember, ages ago, we got a spoiler for Illusion, and it was like a in-progress animation thing of rats in the sewers, and I was like, what on earth has that got to do with this? Where is the correlation? So I had no idea, but when I saw them I was like, oh, that's so cool with the cheese. I love the idea. And then, oh my god, Gabriel falls in the water after he releases from the Akuma, which is really starting to like lose its charm. Like before it was such a special thing, and now I'm just like, well, everyone can do it now, so alright then. You know what I mean? And then he just falls into the water. I don't know what everyone else's reaction to that. Maybe some of you were shocked. I couldn't stop laughing. Best moment in the entire show. So good. And then Ladybug jumps in and Cat Noir was like, where is he? And then Gabriel Babe's at the other side, he's already swum out. But no one questioned why he didn't look wet in the slightest. Okay. So yeah, I thought the whole sequence was really clever, with it being a lie with the lightning, which I was struggling a bit with the ending, translating it, so I'm not 100% sure what it meant. But to me, I interpreted it from the words I did manage to catch, that it was basically Gabriel Babes telling Kagami's mum like, hey, I've managed to fool them into thinking it's this lightning bolt rather than the alliance ring, and she was like, good job. I'm really curious as to what Kagami's mum's getting out of this though. So we've only seen her a handful of times, she's barely had any lines, and from any of her appearances we haven't garnered any information as to why she's doing this. So I don't know, we kind of know from the wish now that it rewrites the whole universe, so maybe in his universe rewrites Gabriel has promised something to Kagami's mum. What that thing would be, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I really want to know what she's getting out of it, because it seems obvious to me now that she's definitely in on this plan. She's helped him so much. Like, he couldn't have done this without her. Like, it might have been his ideas, like, oh, we're going to use the rings, but he wouldn't have been able to actually do it. Like, it seems that she's the one who's helped him with the technology for it, because there's no way in hell he could do that himself. Like, I've given him credit in this episode, but like, okay, calm down, he's not that clever. He couldn't do that with technology himself. So what on earth is she getting out of this? I'm not really sure. That could be a good thing to theorise. So let me know your thoughts on that, besties. But yeah, I really like the episode. I didn't enjoy it as much as Reunion, Passion, Determination, but that may have just been in part because we saw them all so close together. If we saw this, like, you know, next week or something on its own, I might have enjoyed it a bit more. But I still really like the episode. It's still a solid 8 out of 10. I just didn't feel like the writing was quite as strong. Maybe that's because it was more of a comedic episode and they've had funnier episodes before that are just comedy based that I thought were better possibly. I'm not really sure, but I still did really like it. So 8 out of 10, I would say the MVP is Nino. He was really cool in this episode, he really led the comedy. I do quite like Nino as a comedy character, but special MVP mention goes to Gabriel babes, because even though he lost in the end, I really liked him in this episode. When I say liked, I'm not saying like, oh, he's my new favourite character, but the way he was written, his intelligence levels and stuff, yeah, he's really coming into his supervillain era, and we love that for him as long as he stops emotionally abusing his son. So yeah, I liked it. So I can't believe I managed to do 3 commentary videos in 3 days. I believe the last busiest time we had was, so it was like Mr. Pigeon 72, 2 days break, Soul Crusher 2 days break, Queen Banana 2 days break, Optogami. And I was tired. I didn't have to translate anything myself. I've been translating the episodes myself so I could film earlier instead of waiting for someone else to do the subtitles, so I'm tired. Like, I've been even more tired than the day Risk came out because I didn't even know it was coming out. And oh yeah, and Shielding and Penalty came out the same day once. I am exhausted. Plus as well, I'm sorry if I was slightly low energy. My brother got admitted to hospital last night, so he's doing okay. He came home, but he's still not very well. So, yeah, that's going on. I also was up late replying to people's comments and I still didn't finish. I will hopefully get round to doing more today, but apologies in advance if I still haven't replied to you. I had university class last night and other things. But yeah, I'm gonna edit this and then I'm gonna go and sleep for a week because I am so tired, but I have really enjoyed it, I think. I don't know, maybe like by Saturday when I've recovered I'll be able to work out if I actually did enjoy it or not. But thank you all so much for bearing with me this week, knowing I wasn't able to reply to all your comments straight away because there's only one of me and so many of you and stuff, so thank you all for being so considerate, and I hope you all really appreciated the effort I've put in these past 3 days. Honestly, these past 3 days have felt like about 2 weeks because of how tiring it's been. But I hope it's all been worth it for you. I have kind of enjoyed it in a way. I just hope this never happens again. Can you imagine if this week they aired a new episode every day for 5 days? Oh my god, I think I would just start crying. Anyway, besties, I hope you enjoyed this miraculous Armageddon, and maybe in a week or two we'll have a live stream therapy session because I think we all need it. Honestly, I'm still sad about Determination. But anyway, I'd love to know what you thought of this episode, besties. Please don't worry if you didn't agree with me. Besties don't always agree with each other, but besties always respect each other's opinions. If you're gonna write me an essay, I can't wait to read it. Just please put some paragraphs in. I don't have very good eyesight, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!